We are at the Museum of the San Ramon Valley, and the wonderful part of the museum is that it exhibits activities and artifacts and cultures that happen in the entire San Ramon Valley. This museum was built in 1891, had been a Southern Pacific depot. It carried both freight, livestock, crops, and passengers. This depot was a feed store after it was a train depot. Eventually, it became a museum, and we opened the museum in 1991. Because our exhibits are so well done. They're very close to the history of the valley. It's very personal for people who come here. They learn so much about our history. And they come because we rotate the exhibits fairly often, and we try to have lots of activities for children and items that are interesting to adults. I love to come and volunteer at the museum. Saturdays in particular are a fun day to volunteer because the farmers market is here. Children are out of school, the parents bring their children, and it's a relaxed atmosphere because we design our exhibits around a comfortable setting where there's always hands-on for them to try. Our main focus is to educate, to let people know that San Ramon Valley had a wonderful history long, long before homes were starting to be built here. We have great dedicated volunteers, our steering committee and our board of directors. And we have a very, very professional volunteer corps of exhibit planners and designers. And always they follow through. You would think they were paid staff. It's amazing. That's what keeps this museum going. First of all, I'd like to show you what the valley was like 9 million years ago. So, come with me. All right, here we are. This is the valley 9 million years ago. The water was just starting to recede. You can see the fossilized rocks here because there were little mussels and all sorts of things all the way up to Mount Diablo. It was underwater. But as that receded, we had prehistoric mammoths coming into the valley. They were called Gomphotherium simpsoni. This is a jawbone, and a number of these skeletons were found up in the Black Hawk Quarry. Now I'd like to show you another important era in the valley, and that is our transition from when the Miwok tribes were here. And it's been captured in our frieze above, and the exhibits down below picture what they're showing, where the Indians are training for onyx for their arrowheads. They make wonderful, elaborate feather headdresses. You can see the beads. They traded for abalone shells and made beautiful beads out of it, and they used every part of it. Deer. They would use the bones for flutes, for tools, for implements, for sewing, and for tanning. And then the Spanish came, and they started to trade with the Spanish, and they had glass beads. The Spanish were headquartered in Mission San Jose and would come up into the valley with their herds of sheep and cattle. When the Spanish brought their herds of cattle into the valley, they would often have roundups, and they would use this brand to identify the cattle, and so that their hides were marked with this. Eventually the hides would be tanned and sent to Monterey, where it'd be sent out on ships. That was an important part of California's early trade. All right, now I'm going to take you to another really important, very interesting part of California history and valley history, the gold rush. What we're going to be looking at here is the gold rush, and that made a dramatic change in California and brought settlers to the valley. People looking for gold in the late 1840s. Although California became a state in 1850, people were starting to come in and farm in the valley. Early white settlers were coming to farm in the late 1840s, and gold was found. It was a wonderful time for the state, and California really began its dramatic growth. You can see here the sledgehammers, the picks, the pans that they use for sifting out the gold, for letting the water run through. These are some of the tools they used in their search for gold. I hope you've enjoyed your visit to the Museum of the San Ramon Valley in Danville. For more information, call us at 925-837-3750 or visit www.museumsrv.org. This is Roxanne Lindsay. Have a great day.